and it's time for another devlog. Now, what I've been working on this time has been the enemies right here. You can see them all dancing around, attacking one after another. This is what I've been working on. Not specific enemy behaviors, but how the whole enemy dynamics is gonna work. So, previously what I did was have its enemy wait a few seconds, then they would go into an attack phase. If there weren't too many enemies nearby them attacking, then they would attack, otherwise they would just keep chilling or look at the enemy or whatever. Look at the player. But if there were... but what I'm doing now instead is I'm actually using an enemy manager. So its enemy normally will be in its own idle state, and whenever the enemy manager wants some enemies to attack, it will call upon them and it will get them into an attack phase. Now, enemies that are already attacking, of course, are not available, so they don't count. But those enemies that can be counted will go into an attack phase externally, not through their own pick. This isn't necessarily how it's always gonna work. Some enemies are gonna have their own unique attack phases, and bosses, for example, aren't gonna be like that. They are going to be fully autonomous. But for regular enemies, and especially for hordes like this, it's much more useful to have an enemy manager instead of individual attacks. So what happens in this case specifically right now, for example, is that the enemy manager goes through 3 waves of regular enemy attacks, then it does a ranged attack. So now it's gonna look through those enemies, it's gonna try to do a light attack, or with a low dice roll, it might do a heavier attack. But it's gonna stick to enemies near the player, like within 50 units. Let's say 1 square is about a unit. So it's gonna look nearby the... Oops, I think I hit the mic. Yeah, it's gonna look nearby the player and get a few enemies that are near it and attack. They will do that 3 times, and then it's gonna try to do a ranged attack. Now, ranged enemies aren't as common, so those flowers right here, for example, those are ranged, but these enemies right here don't have a ranged flag. So if they were the only ones, then the player would get a free pick, a free choice, like a free turn. But that's how this works right now. You get some regular attacks, then a ranged attack, then that changes, then it goes all over again. But something like that could easily change. There could be many different flavors of enemy behaviors, and each area could have its own, its difficulty could change, and the frequency of the attacks, the types of attacks used, all of those could be used on different frequencies. So that's the main idea around here. Instead of the enemies themselves deciding they're going to attack the player, they're just gonna do the thing. Now, let's take these flowers for example, the bellflowers. They're just gonna keep doing that slow, that spirited dance that they're doing normally. But from time to time they're gonna decide to approach the enemy. That is still a behavior that they handle. Like if I go away, they're gonna try to approach and then they will go back to dancing. This is their own behavior. They try to approach the player and that's their own behavior. But that's all they do. They're not gonna try to attack on their own. That's the job of the new script. And so I think that's it. Okay, so I have no idea how this is gonna go, how this devlog was. It might need another take, but if not, that's fine too. I mean, if you're hearing this, I probably got lazy and just uploaded that. So, see you later.